shit with no distinction between civilian and military targets. Those are war crimes, and our soldiers and military officers who give those commands and follow through on those commands be court-martialed under United States USMC. You know what I'm talking about, right? So the idea that we're going to go in under political leadership and completely carpet bomb, or we're not talking about carpet bombing. We're saying just kill a little bit of civilian, whatever the fuck it is. If they don't follow the rules of war, and I'm not talking about rules of engagement. Rules of engagement are different than rules of war.
So define it, TC. TC, break it down.
In terms of, I'm driving. I don't want to be quoted on it, but we know what the laws of distinction are.
No, but help me on this, because like I was giving examples of taking out transportation depots and the systems of communication, and so what's acceptable to cripple a country to its knees? Like, how would you do it?
I'm not an attorney.
No, I'm not an attorney. I don't practice the law of war. I'm just curious, like, how do you do it?
Yeah, I was going to answer your question, but I wanted to preface it by saying I'm not an attorney.
TC, let me let you answer it, but I do want to add something to this. Go ahead, just answer it and do what you need to do. Go.
Yeah, based on my layperson's understanding, right? You can target infrastructure that's being used to foment war. If it's considered a target that is used to, for example, transport military equipment or military technology, if it's used to fuel military infrastructure or technology systems that are in place, those can be considered legitimate military targets, even if they are also being used for civilian purposes as well. So, for example, a military target like a hospital, right? So you, as an enemy combatant, cannot go in to a school and say, I now commandeer this school and now I get sanctuary from being targeted militarily under Geneva Conventions because it's a school. No, you've effectively turned that school into a military target. So when you're talking about locomotives or if you're talking about transportation and that type of thing, and it's being used by enemy combatants to effectuate war, those become legitimate targets. What I'm suggesting that should not be the case, okay, is that we don't use any type of distinction when we're evaluating whether or not a target is a legitimate military target, such as what was being proffered by the previous speaker, that we just go in and blow up a whole bunch of shit. No, we have laws in this country. Like, that's what stops us from being the very tyrants that we seek to eliminate from.
I never said anything that you said. I said
you were promulgating tyranny.
I never said carpet bomb, you fucking idiot. God damn, you're dumb. Stop fucking strawberry, you faggot.
Let me add my question really quick. Yeah.
Sorry, what now?
I looked up the rules of war if you want me to read it to you. It's not that long.
I simply said they should have hit the IRGC harder. Yeah. I never said anything about civilians. I said they're a casualty of war, and it sucks. But the same thing that Israel's doing in fucking Gaza is justified. And they're showing the fucking
proof is in the pudding. Justified. What they did in Gaza was not justified.
Aleister Crowley,
doesn't exist, you
please timestamp this. This is a man with 140 IQ. This must be studied.
141.
Yeah, 141 claim.
Yeah, don't steal my 1 point.
Okay, Sean, hold on. Let me ask TC, if the generals and the powers that be that make our decisions, I'm assuming they go in always thinking that what they're doing is to win, right? If something comes down the pipeline where they're told that, okay, if these X, Y, and Z decisions are made, we're automatically winners, regardless of what we're doing. There's no way they're not going to do it. That's kind of like that's the counter argument to what you're saying. Unfortunately, we're there to win. It doesn't really matter at what cost, actually, in some sense. Do you see that at all or not? I know you're going to.
I agree with you. I agree with you that no other international party can hold America accountable. That's correct, right? We answer only to our U.S. Constitution. However, our U.S. Constitution place certain demands that America is bound to through international treaties like the Geneva Convention, it makes it the supreme law of the land in the U.S. That's in the Constitution, right? And so if the Geneva Conventions that the U.S. is party to in that treaty says that we have to engage through distinction, and we cannot just go in and say, oh, that's just the casualties of war, collateral damage. Oh well, no. If that was the case, then when those guys went in,
Can I ask for clarification?
when those guys went in,
I disagree legally. I disagree legally. The supreme law of our land is not the Geneva Convention, and nor does it overshadow or trump, excuse the pun, our Constitution whatsoever.
I agree with you on the second part. I disagree with you on the first part.
No, it's not. Firstly,
the international treaties does not trump the Constitution.
This was the point.
Hold on, Sean. I'm engaging with Abby for a second.
Spoken long enough.
All right, so hold on, Sean. Let me respond to Abby specifically.
That who would hold them
Abby,
accountable
while I
would be the U.S.
disagree
armed personnel.
that the United
You said
States
it would be the
are
U.S.
not
military armed personnel.
treated to
But
international Constitution.
Where was the
Dude, I
Geneva
can't speak on
Convention
this side.
violation when Obama
Listen,
instructed his fucking...
I'm not fucking defending Obama,
No, I'm
you
not talking
dimwit.
about you're defending it, you dumb faggot. You fucking said, oh, well, the people that stopped it be the armed service personnel. But where the fuck was the court martial? Where was the goddamn trial for the fucking armed fucking, the military, the fucking airmen who were instructed to take the fucking drones and airstrike fucking U.S. citizens? Where was the court martial? Where was the Geneva Convention fucking trial where they had to go in fucking before a tribunal because Obama instructed them to fucking drone strike U.S. citizens? You said they wouldn't pull the trigger. They surveyed armed personnel and they asked them, would you fire on U.S. citizens? 70% of them said yes. They said during martial law or a lockdown or a severe situation in the United States, they would engage U.S. civilians as combatants and fire on them. What the fuck are you talking about?
Are you done, dude?
You're a fucking idiot. You said
Are you done?
the military would stop them in the Constitution. We didn't fucking stop them when Obama said, hey, drone strike that motherfucker. Did it. I want to see where the fucking court martial and the trial was. You dumb fucking faggot. Stop strawmanning. I never said carpet bomb anybody, faggot.
You got it. You got your point out.
Goddamn dumb cunt.
Now let TC rebut it.
And let this stupid midwit
Rich,
faggot
come on,
talk.
man. Rich,
You know, I should have.
Stop it. Go ahead.
I should have never gotten down to this level because I know I'm not gonna be able to match that level of idiocy. But I'll at least try and respond. So there, and I'm driving. I'm happy to grab the sources once I'm done driving. In the Iraq War, I can't remember exactly what the situation was, but apparently there was some situation in which a few of our soldiers went in and.
No, it was in California. It was a guy who killed a cop, too. Don't forget about that.
Our
There's a fucking black guy. There was a black guy that was running road
I don't have the energy for this.
in California, and they drone striked him on U.S. soil. You fucking retard. I'm not talking about Iraqi combatants. There was a black guy who went and fucking murked a fucking cop, and they drone striked his ass.
Chris Doran.
Yeah, the guy that was running through the forest, they drone striked his ass.
Yeah,
The guy in California, he's running through the forest like playing fucking.
No, they burned his house down. He was in a log cabin, and they torched the building, and they roasted him.
Where was the tribunal? Where was the court martial, you dumb faggot? Where was the fucking airman that said, I'm not gonna do that because it gets the fucking Constitution?
You know what's interesting about all of this is that ideologically I kind of align with what TC is saying to an extent. I do think Gaza was wrong, and I do think killing civilians is bad. But unfortunately, because we needed and did go into Iraq,
they have free elections in Iraq now.
okay, because what we were going to do in Iran, and it should have just been, again, overwhelming force from day one, because this sends the word.
Senior, what makes you think that it wasn't overwhelming force on day one? What makes you think that? Because they put down an incredible amount of firepower, and so apparently it's not enough firepower for you. Well, how much more firepower would you require to satisfy your complaint?
To satisfy my complaint,
I
want honestly, jokingly / not jokingly, I want enough firepower that I don't want a building standing in fucking Tehran. That's what I want.
So you want to nuclearly obliterate an entire city full of innocent people?
So watch this.
Wow, that sounds like black supremacy and black fascism to me.
It's what Reagan threatened, correct?
And nobody would have held us accountable. They all would have been fucking happy when the RGC was completely eliminated.
If you're
Just like everybody's going to be happy when Hamas is eliminated 100%.
Let me ask you a question, Senior. Since you put this on the table, Senior, what do you think the unintended consequences of that action would be? If we did do what you're suggesting, which is to flatten Iran, what do you
I don't
think?
think that's what he said, though.
I thought he said.
No, he said flatten fucking IRGC and the 10% would support them.
Right.
He
wanted to bomb
Yeah,
Iran.
he said all the ones that are part of the RGC are the 10%.
No, that's not what he said. That's not.
I gave clarification. He said yes. That's exactly what I was saying. Because they said
Let
don't
me
talk
ask
for
you,
him.
Senior, did you say? I thought you said you didn't care much about the civilian casualties.
No, he said it's a casualty.
I'm less concerned about it. Yeah, I'm not overly concerned about
It's been okay if we dropped a nuclear bomb and eradicated Iran. Would you been okay with that?
No.
So what's the balance here? What did you want to see?
If I'm gonna be asked, well, what sort of overwhelming force would I would have satisfied me from the beginning? Jokingly / non-jokingly, I would have said level all of Tehran, or at a very minimum, every address that we had for where someone who was in the IRGC lives, the whole fucking building came down.
Yep.
If there's a guy in the IRGC who lives in your apartment building, it all comes to the fucking ground.
Okay, and what are the unintended consequences of taking?
I mean, listen. Hold on. I'm not gonna sit here and say that there's not gonna be any unintended consequences, or there's not gonna be bad consequences from it. But I think for America, because that's where my concern is, the consequences are gonna be now. We look like we can't fight no fucking body now.
Yep.
We look like
weak.
we look like the fucking Iranians are able to hold.
Yeah, but man, Infinity, the point is, like,
do you think
Israel's-
they're looking
Israel's
at the
the size of
consequences?
New
Hold it,
Jersey.
Rich. Do you think they're
Okay.
looking at the consequences of what happens to American citizens when they threaten death to America and when they get the nuke and they have long-range ballistic missiles that can hit our shores? Do you think they really care about the
You can already hit London.
damage to American citizens?
No,
They
not at all.
surely,
I guess
they
it's-
surely
not at all,
didn't
because
care.
they
Wait,
will
let me
very
just
well.
finish my sentence. They surely didn't care about the damage to the Israeli civilians on October 7th with their proxies. They went in and they caused all kinds of damage to civilians. They didn't care, nor did they care when they shoot their ballistic missiles into Tel Aviv and into Jerusalem. And they hit civilian targets, but universities and hospitals that don't have military installations. They don't care. So why are we?
That's the balance.
Okay.
Right?
I would like to
So
respond
wait,
to
and
that.
let me just say one last thing. On the other point, the Constitution is our supreme law of our land, and it overshadows foreign treaties, legislative. The supreme law of the land is the Constitution. So it needs to
But
be
if
clear on
America
what
is
you were
party
saying.
to a treaty, it becomes the supreme law
It
of the
does
land.
not become the supreme law of
Do
the
you
land.
want me to
The
get you the
Consti-
chapter and verse?
I will
Since
tell you
October
what part
7th,
of the Constitution
Israel's the size
makes
of
it
fucking
very
New Jersey.
clear that the Constitution
They've been
is the
claiming that
supreme
they're going to bring him
law
up on
of-
war crimes and
Oh my
fucking
God.
throw him to Hague and shit
So-
like that. It's never going to happen.
The
You've done
supremacy
that.
clause,
It's a million times more
which,
powerful.
so if we want to talk about what part of the Constitution, we can go through Article 6, and we can talk about the supremacy clause. Treaties that are made under the United States
Look,
are
Abby-
supreme over state
Yeah, you're
laws,
not going to win this.
but
TC.
not over the Constitution.
Abby,
And we can-
Abby,
yes,
you're not
sorry.
gonna be able to debate me on this. because I
Yes, you
agree
can.
with you.
Yes, you can.
Okay,
I
thank you,
agree.
How
TC.
many
This
years
is-
have you
this
been
is-
practicing
this is
law,
a-
Abby?
This is a moot point here. We both agree.
Okay,
The
thank you.
international treaties do not trump the Constitution.
Thank you.
If the dimwit allowed me to speak earlier, he'd be able to understand what I agreed with and what I
You
disagreed.
said they were co-equal.
Where I the Constitution.
Come on, TC. TC. When you call a dimwit, TC, that's just ad hominem projection, TC. Come on, TC. No ad hominem projection, please, TC.
10 people
No,
ganging
I'm
up
not
on
schooling it,
TC.
we're agreeing on it,
If
but
you
it has to go
debate,
through
like,
congressional
why are
ratification.
you having a debate with 10 people and one guy? Like, because he can't answer 10 of you. Irrelevant. Just ask one at a time.
He said that the armed personnel
I don't care. Just like one
would
at a
not
time.
they would not fucking violate the Geneva Convention, and that they wouldn't
Okay, I don't care.
commit fucking
You
war
act like I
crimes.
care.
But
Just
then
like one
Obama
at a time.
drone strike an American citizen, California.
Okay, great. You know what? I would have fucking shot him too.
All right,
Yes, so would I.
whoever
So
just
would
said
I.
that,
We agree with you, Brad.
never conducted a
TC
drone
said
strike
they
on
would never
U.S.
do that.
soil. You
He said
are
they
a liar,
would look
sir.
at their superior and said,
There
no,
has
we're not
never
gonna
been
do
a
that.
lethal drone strike on U.S. soil. You are a liar, sir.
What, Bree? What, Bree?
There has never been an illegal drone strike in
I didn't say
U.S.
it was
soil. I said lethal.
Oh, lethal. Yeah, there has.
No, there hasn't.
Yeah, there has. There was the guy
You're a
that was
liar.
in the fucking log cabin in California. He was a cop. They drone strike him.
You're a liar.
You're an idiot. Go look it up, retard. You're also drunk.
What's
so be fine.
US soil to you?
California?
Is a US base, US soil?
Yes, 100%. So is the embassies.
Is it territory?
Correct. Yes, 110%. Yeah, Guam. U.S. Marshall, Marianas Islands, American
Okay,
Samoa.
great. Why don't you let TC finish what he was originally saying, then you guys can rebut it.
Yeah, this is hard to do because I'm
And the
driving.
U.S. Virgin Islands.
But I'm gonna put this in the chat now so that we can read it. This is what I was saying. I don't disagree with you, Abby, that it does not trump the Constitution. But the Constitution is clear, and I posted it in the chat. I'm driving. Any questions on that, you can take it up with the Constitution.
All right.
It clearly says, all treaties made or which shall be made under the authority of the United States shall be the supreme law of the land. Take that and shove that up your ass, Sean.
But it also is very clear that the Constitution is the supreme law of the land.
Yeah.
Without
Treaties
question.
treaties have to be self-executing. They have to either be self-executing or they have to be, which means they're implemented by Congress, or they have to have legislative action.
And the one that
Yeah,
we're talking
TC's
about
equivalent argument is when the Muslims say, oh, well, this is contrary, so we don't accept it.
In 2013, Christopher Dahmer, a former LAPD officer who killed 4 people, including law enforcement, waged a revenge campaign against the department, ended up in a California mountain cabin standoff, but no drone strike was used to kill him.
Like, conservatives, we have to do better. Like, if we're going to be as dumb as Sean, at least mute him so that we can correct the misinformation that's spewing out of his mouth.
TC, can I leave it at this with
At
you?
the very least, we can have some credibility and mute him when he's spreading bullshit.
Although the treaties will have certain status, they can't supersede it.
Again, TC, please stop with the ad hominem projection, TC. You keep projecting your ad hominem onto Rich. And Rich is making valid points.
Probably more relevantly than most people, because I know that I'm an American citizen. I have the Constitution. I joined the Army, and I was under UCMJ, Uniform Code of Military Justice, which stripped me away of having my constitutional rights because I was now underneath the UCMJ, but also because I was a medic. In order for me to be a medic on a battlefield, I had to take the Geneva Convention license. I am certified to be, no, but like, I have my Geneva Convention card, I have the Constitution, I have the UCMJ, and like, y'all are completely, and dude, I'm 100% on Abby's side with this thing. Like, if you are a civilian, the Constitution.
That lasted 42 minutes.
Let me ask you, Brent, and people who have served
45 minutes.
Because I do want to get a real world example. So just real quick, if there's a person in a house, a high value target, right, in a house, you know, we need to get him. We can't do it like with special ops, let's say, and
he's building a nuke.
Okay, maybe. Just hold on, Rich. We'll get to that maybe. But the person's doing their business there, and there's family members and what have you. What is the rule there? Like, what are we doing? Like,
well, that would be like when
that was for Abby, not Bree.
We cornered Uday.
Bree, it could be Abby, and
Let's hear Abby, so we don't have to hear about Bree doing teardowns.
Rich,
Chill.
Just chill.
No, but when we cornered Uday's insane, right? He was with his family in like one of these little small palaces. We surrounded it. Like they had people that were in there, plus his family and all that shit. And we were taking fire from them. We surrounded that motherfucker, and we got tired of it. So yeah, we dropped the J-Dam on that motherfucker.
So is that a war crime? Like, are those people in prison?
No.
And
The
who's
TC
gonna
said they
enforce-
wouldn't do
That
that.
was my question to TC.
We do that. So in HVT.
Yeah, that was the whole point, Brad.
Okay, dude, chill. I'm talking. All right, chill. You can talk after me. Just take a breath. So, like, at HVT, if it, depending on who's ordering it, I mean, and we're talking, you said high level, some guy that we, like, Soleimani type. Yeah, we will take out the house, we will take out the children, we will take out the wives, we'll take out everybody if we have to. If that's the last and best option to go ahead and do this, yes.
Even if they're a U.S. citizen?
Jesus Christ. Even if they're a U.S. citizen, hey, fuck. People act like we didn't drop fucking bombs on top of an apartment building because Black Panthers were in it. Like, spare me your outrage. So this HVT, if they're an asset that we deem that has to be killed or removed from the field, yeah, they're gone. So are their children. And unfortunately, in the days of modern warfare, the way they hide amongst children and they put family members around them, Bree is right. Like, you're going to, yeah, we'll try to snag you in a way, but if it doesn't work out and we have a limited window, yeah, you're going to get a J-Dam, you're going to get a tomahawk, you're going to get something coming through the window to come put that warhead on the forehead.
So
it's going to be lucky.
So far, Bree, Brad, and Senor and Rich are all right.
So is it fair to say that they have immunity of some sort going on here? I mean, how is this not being applied to, like, pretty much a lot of these things? I don't know.
Because war crimes are determined by, well, to be honest, the winners. If you really want to know the truth.
What do you make of what you're hearing right now?
But man, that's on a point.
He's on a point.
That was our whole point. Yeah.
Do you guys want an example on, or TC, do you want an example? He's on I put a case in the chat.
Abby, don't worry. As soon as TC gets off the phone, he'll tell us about his multi-million-dollar deal that he was just doing right now.
So I'm not, okay, I guess the difference is that was like a thing then, it's one person versus, say, 100,000 people.
Look at it this way,
Is
man.
that the difference, Brad?
Yeah, like it's one person, plus they're not generally like an enemy of the United States or a combatant against the United States is not granted the same constitutional rights you may be. Hence why we still have Guantanamo Bay waterboarding, having people stand up and stretched out for days on end, tight little boxes, having to shit in their own hands. These things, they get a little murky on it. The UCMJ does govern us, but if Top Hat actually says, go ahead, it's cleared, Top Hat's going to get what they want. They're going to execute. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter where you. So for those saying it's a war crime, yeah, but who's going to actually enforce it? Because the U.S. The U.S. doesn't agree to any of that. Neither do a lot of the countries. They have their special provisions. Like France is never going to turn over Macron for a war crime. France has committed war crimes, but no one calls them out. England, I guess you could throw Tony Blair under it. You think England's going to give up Tony Blair? Putin? Do you honestly think Russia's going to hand over Putin to a world court without any enforcement mechanism? It's just a virtue signaling court. That's it.
How about like a scenario? Let me just grow it out a little bit bigger. And if we want, we can throw in Rich's scenario there of a nuke. Let's say there's a gathering, say, of 500 people to, 800, and they're all like in a factory working on various
nuclear
activities.
physicists.
And we go in there and we just completely, bomb the fuck out of it. We're still in the clear, because the whole point, like I was mentioning to TC, is if there's a way to win the war, we're gonna do it, right, Brad? I mean, it's just the way it is.
Correct. That's what we did in Japan. We targeted resources. Like here's a simple construct of how the military operates. We'll attack you from the front. We try to dominate the skies, and we take out your threat aerially because we don't want the aerial threat to exist. And then what we do is we hit your resources. We cut off your supply lines. We cut off where you're going to manufacture your bullets. Who manufactures those bullets? Civilians. We're going to bomb them. We did that in World War II. We did it in Vietnam. We did it in Gulf War I, and we did it kind of in Gulf War II. So the U.S. has a three-tiered prong.
We did it with the ballistic missile facility in Iraq.
Jesus, Rich. And if it's at sea and it involves a sea element or a naval element, we will do it at sea as well. We absolutely fucking destroy civilian areas. We cut off, we do chokeholds, and we will starve, eradicate. We will blow up watersheds, infrastructure projects, water pipelines, energies. We absolutely will. Like, total war is not fucking your video games or your fucking Hollywood movies. Like, war is war.
And we win at all costs. There's no, like, honestly, there's nobody going, well, because so-and-so is there, we can't do it if it's not, like, it's, I mean, unfortunately, that's just the way it probably goes down, right? I mean, I don't know, like, Beam is going to come off the mic. Beam, I know you're there, and, like,
but no, it's not.
Full throttle.
Matt, it's more of this.
Against this, or what? Come on.
No, it's the problem is that now you have these groups that embed themselves in the civilian population. So think about this. Would you, like, every American in this room, let's say Iran blows up, I don't know, LA, and Karen Bass doesn't get to rule over that. All of a sudden, you have a total war. We issue war on Iran. Fuck every Iranian there. We're coming in. We're going for blood. We're taking scalps. Now, all of a sudden, the IRGC, all the Houthis and whatever ABC alphabet group that wants to exist under them, they're going to hide amongst the civilian population. Do you think your sons and daughters deserve to die because of a war that was, regardless of how you feel politically, but your sons and daughters should have to go in and fucking go through room by room? Fuck no.
Yo, Matt, real quick, you mind if I...
We're not gonna... The whole idea of war is to kill the other side or kill enough of the other side until they surrender. That's the end goal of war. How you do it doesn't matter. Really doesn't.
The issue that we had with TC's exact statement was that they're bound by the U.S. Constitution, and our armed personnel will not do that. They will not violate the Geneva Convention. And it's like, no, we do this all the time. Like Brad said, we bombed the fucking ballistic missile facility and killed civilians in fucking north of Tehran. We had no fucking problems or qualms with doing it. But he's like, oh, that's a war crime. Our people like Brad would never pull the trigger. Yeah, then fuck Brad would. Brad gets a fucking command, pull the trigger, he pulls the fucking trigger. Because that's what he's supposed to fucking...
Yeah, I would probably pull the trigger. Depends on the
scenario. Of course you would. If I control the ballistic missile and they say push the button, you push the button.
Oh, yeah.
If you were a Minuteman, you would do the same thing.
But, I mean, here's the other thing, too. Like, we abide by it, but, I mean, fuck. You're talking about, like, the Germans wanted us to get rid of shotguns because they thought that was such a horrifying weapon. Like, really? We abide by a lot of rules. Like, we generally, like, Abu Dhabi, whatever it is, the prison up there, we had, that was torturous and people paid the price. We have various other black sites that now exist in other places. So, you just don't get to have your feel-good feelings and your virtue signaling, because I hate to tell you this, the other side is going to kill you. Like, you may not like the grittiness of war. This is why it's a calling, not, you're not forced into it in the United States. You get to call up and you get to go do it. And you better let the men and women that can do it and sleep okay at night, you better let them go ahead and do it, because, quite frankly, you're not prepared for that kind of fight.
This is just a side note. Out of curiosity, because I'm just going to try to, this Beam is not going to do it, or maybe she will here in a minute. If we didn't have a army or military or any kind of defense, how quickly, this is kind of a little bit off topic, but I've always had this question, how quickly would we be invaded on the mainland, do you think, Brad? I've always wondered this, actually.
What? You mean if we didn't have the ponds on either side? And
yeah, like anywhere, I guess.
Oh, no.
Like, if we were in Europe, we would have been invaded multiple times already. If we were like Poland, yeah, we would have been fucked with a long time ago. The U.S. is saved by topography. It's saved by distance.
Right.
And it's saved by, I mean,
rednecks with shotguns and beer and pickup
But
trucks.
how quickly would we be, like, the mainland, like, if all of a sudden, like, we woke up the next thing, tomorrow, and all of a sudden, for whatever reason, we don't have any military, I don't know what happened, but how quickly would China just be like, fuck this, we're going to the mainland?
I don't know if China really would. It's a dangerous crossing. They got to cross the pond. They have to find an entry point. By then, you'd have a civilian population that was armed. Yeah, they could probably launch some missiles.